Welcome, everyone, to the Q&A session for our upcoming course, Opening Your Third Eye, the 9-week journey to tap into the ultimate source of peace, intuition, and bliss. I'm Lisa Bonise, and I'm really jazzed to be hosting this Q&A conversation for the Shift Network, where we'll explore the teachings of Raja Choudhury and address questions about his upcoming 9-week course, Opening Your Third Eye, which begins Wednesday, February 27th. Later, I'll explain how you can participate in this course, even if you can't attend the live sessions. But first, I want to introduce our guest. Raja Choudhury aims to disrupt human consciousness and awaken each of us to our true evolutionary potential using his deep knowledge of Kundalini Shakti, Tantra, and Kriya Yoga. In a personal quest of over 20 years, Raja has comparatively explored most of the great and some unknown wisdom traditions of the world and has experienced many teachings and transformative methodologies firsthand. In 2014, he was awarded India's prestigious National Film Award for his film, The Quantum Indians. He's currently making a film for PBS on Swami Vivekananda called First Guru. Raja gave a TED Talk, Indian Wisdom for Today's World, in 2012, and a TEDx Talk, Yoga, India's Open Source Gift to the World, in 2015. And in just a few minutes, we're going to open up for your questions. But first, I want to welcome Raja, who's going to start our call by leading us in an opening chant. Welcome, Raja. It is always such a delight to be with you.
Namaha, Lisa, and everybody out there. Namaha, and blessings to all of you. I want you to just sit with me for a minute and just relax. Relax your body. Just take a deep breath in. And I want you to imagine that just above your head, about, let's say, 2-3 fingers above your head, there's a little opening through which the amazing intelligence of the cosmos can come in. Now, if I can open that little doorway and bring it down through my third eye to my heart, I create a flow of consciousness. We call it Tantra, Jiva coming in and Prana going up. And I want you to chant with me the sound hum as you breathe in, hum, and sa as you breathe out. So imagine it's pouring in with the sound of hum and sa going out. Hum, sa. Now watch my third eye and I will do a mantra to bring all that energy into you. Aim Hrim Shrim Aim Klim Soul Hamsa Shiva Soham Hasaka Frame Hasaksha Malavarya Om Haso Sahaksha Malavarya Im Saho Sarupa Herupa Hetavesha Gunave Shri Annapurnama Saita Shri Amritananda Natha Shri Guru Shri Padukam Pujiyami Tarpayami Namaha. Aim Klim Soul Soul Klim Aim Iti Shevam. Good. Let's begin, Lisa.
All right, let's do it. Thank you, Raja. So for those of you watching,
in your description of me, you left out the entire last year of my life where I've been teaching on the Shift Network.
That's very true. I apologize. And I should also mention that Raj is about the grooviest faculty that we have. You should know that as well, folks. We do. We have a lot of fun. And let's see how fun we can make this. Yeah, let's see if we have any questions from our viewers. We're
Okay.
preparing for his upcoming course. Again, it's called Opening Your Third Eye, and it begins Wednesday, February 27th. And if you want to check out the website, which does tell you about Raj's last year, you can learn more about the 9-week course. Go ahead and visit openingyourthirdeye.com, and that's where you'll see the full description. So let's go ahead and get started with questions. If you have a question for Raja, go ahead and type it in, and I'll be happy to read it aloud. And in the meantime, we've already got some questions gathered over the course of the last week. And let's start with the most basic of all questions. This is from Mudit, who says, what is the third eye?
This is the $1 million question, or the $64 million question. I mean, I could give you the esoteric and intuitive, that there's this sixth sense that we can turn into, but I'm going to give you the tantric answer. There is a third eye, and it sits in the middle of my head, and it correlates to the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, and it correlates to an inner ability to access altered states of consciousness. So at its very core, we have a reptilian eye that's been left behind by evolution that normal human beings can't use. But through plant medicines or acid or drugs, or in Tantra's case, deep meditation states, we can open this hidden eye that seems to correlate directly to the pineal gland. And when we do, something amazing happens. An inner vision, an inner light comes on that you cannot imagine. And then, once that comes on, a stream of consciousness that otherwise would not be available to you begins to come into you. And this can transform your life. There are techniques to do this. And this is what I've been studying for the last 20 years. And mainly because I first visualized that part of my brain that I'd never seen before through plant medicine. I wanted to do it without the use of any support or any help. And so I delved deep into this. I studied Kriya Yoga first. I studied Kundalini Shakti. I studied Raja Yoga, advanced techniques of yoga. And then I integrated the work of Trika and Tantra, especially the work of Sri Vidya, using mantras. And good God, in 2006, I saw it with my own inner eye. There's something opened in me that I can only describe as 1,000 suns exploding in my head. And I can tell you that my life changed that day. This was 12 years ago. And I have unblocked so much, created so much, done so much in the last 12 years that I have not done in my entire life. And all due to this opening of this channel of communication with some other form of consciousness, which we can only describe as higher consciousness. And it brings gifts with it. If you know how to use them, your life will transform. So that's what the third eye is.
Okay, well, thank you for starting us out with that. And let's move on to this is a really frequently asked question. A lot of people are asking this. So let me read two versions. First, Greer is saying, it's often said that awakening the third eye may have unusual consequences if one is not properly trained or prepared to do so. What insights do you have on this? And then Liz asks, how can we confidently know we've rooted our body well enough to safely move toward opening the third eye? So basically, there's just a lot of fear around this. People have heard horror stories about what can happen. So maybe you can address this.
The major problem is that techniques such as Tratak and other techniques or taking acid or psilocybin can open the third eye, but if you're not grounded, then it becomes even ayahuasca taps into the same area of the brain, is that it opens up a portal into your subconscious, your unconscious, your inner biology, your outer astral biology, and you suddenly encountering so much that if you're not grounded or tethered in some way, you're going to go cascading into hallucinatory states that could lead to depression, could lead to all kinds of problems. So if we approach it from the Kundalini Shakti path or the path of Tantra, we absolutely first tether ourselves. In fact, we tether ourselves right from the base of our spine at Muladhara. And in fact, in the training I do, the first couple of classes, we're going to ground ourselves. We're going to ground ourselves in such a way that when we go skywalking, when we go flying into the dome inside our Brahma's cave in this head of ours, we are going to be able to navigate that knowing, A, we're grounded, B, that we have this entire channel open and connected and harmonized and balanced, and all our karmic traumas and issues have been handled and dealt with and are under our control. But we're also able to then fly to the ether regions. So if you think about it, the third eye is considered in Tantra to be the sixth element. So let's look at the first five elements. The first five elements are earth, water, fire, air, and space, akasha, at the throat. So earth relates to Muladhara, then Svadhisthana is water, which is at the sexual organs. Then you have Manipura at the navel. Then you have Anahata at the heart, and that is air. And then, so your biology goes from earth and solid matter towards vapor at the throat. And by the time you get to these five elements of the body called tattvas, the five tattvas, you're now about to transcend to the sixth gate here. And the sixth sense opens, and this is an inner seeing, an inner looking. So the journey can't be done by jumping straight into the sixth sense. We start at earth, we shoot our way up, and then we open the sixth gate. And that's the Agya Chakra, the third eye. And when we open that, if we are grounded, two things happen. One, the spinal cord is supporting our activity through an energy called Kundalini, and that's critical in really helping third eye opening work well. And the other part is that as we go into these visionary states and we start experiencing light and mystical experiences of intelligence and seeing a star, Tarini, in our third eye, we come back down. We are able to descend back Jacob's ladder, back our 33 spinal, our 33 vertebrae, our spinal cord all the way down, and we can come back and relax in our heart and in our Muladhara at the base of our spine, back to earth, and we're grounded. So it works in a beautiful way to ground us and let us go free. That's how the work works. And so the beauty is also that once you're grounded and you realize that all of these are prana excessive activation or dramatic hallucinations of the prana, you bring them under your control. And then you become a real skywalker, a khechari, a gazer into the inner sky. And then you get past all the hallucinations and the trauma and the fears and the void, and you begin to navigate this wonderful world. So step by step by step, we get there.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that. Let's move on to another pair of questions. Again, it's a lot of people asking them, but let me read two versions. Christy wants to know, what's the evidence of the third eye awakening? And Yvonne is basically saying, how can we know without a doubt that the third eye is open?
Well, it's like any naming protocol. It's a semantic game. If you think about it, we're actually altering our states of consciousness. So why is the human being capable of altering their consciousness? I mean, this is not a biological necessity. This is not a gift of evolution that says, okay, evolution says, grow up, have a baby, and then get out of the way. So your job, evolutionary wise, is to come into the world, procreate, and then nest the creation in such a way that it can thrive and then get out of the way. Now, for some reason, we human beings have been given this ability to alter our consciousness and navigate through the higher brain, the neocortex here, deeper states of pattern recognition, geometry, sound, sacred things. So if you think of normal consciousness, we're a slave to our senses, we're a slave to our body, our organs, we're a slave to our reptilian brain, the lower brain, because that drives our sex drive, our fear, our hunger, our sugar. All those things come out of that drive there. We're also a slave to our analytical brain, the neocortex, which sits up there. And we're a slave to it because it's perpetually analyzing and talking to us. It's like a nonstop voice in your head. So something unusual happens when we shut them both up. And that's what all these techniques of tantric meditation or some of the yogic meditations are about, is to shut up. Now just imagine if I can shut up my lower brain and shut up my neocortex, I had this sudden state of observation going on, which seems to alter my consciousness. Now, I can experience that same altered state of consciousness under certain chemical or plant medicine. So psilocybin, ayahuasca, I go into an altered state where I see an inner world that defies, rational thinking, but it's completely real. But I can't go back there without another plant medicine help. What if there was a way of shifting the consciousness, releasing the right chemicals, putting the brain into activation that would bring us continuous flow of information? Could I live in this other state of consciousness? So in the ancient times, people would disappear from the cities, disappear from their groups, and go and learn how to do this in advanced mystery schools in the jungles of India and the mountains and Himalayas. And, the Himalayas were very popular because it was low oxygen, would induce higher states of brain deprivation that would create altered states of consciousness. So the game of consciousness was always part of the human experience. What we've discovered is that we've given it the name of the third eye, but this was known in ancient Egypt, this was known in Mesopotamia, this was known in India, this was known all over the world, Quetzalcoatl in Mexico. This idea of an energy flow from the base of my spine, like serpents coming up, meeting at some point inside my midbrain and triggering an altered state of consciousness, which seems to bring information that helps my tribe, that helps my being, that improves my health, that makes me attract energy, that makes me glow, that makes me become a beacon of light, that makes me receive intelligence that normal people can't receive. This has been repeated evidence over and over and over again, from shamans to sadhus to mystics to whatever. Now, even those scientists who have had discoveries or medical discoveries have had these moments of stillness from which something triggers in the midbrain and releases intelligence into us. This is what we call the third eye. So the evidence of the third eye is experiential first and then life-changing later. I am living proof of it, and I want to share that with you.
All right, thank you. So let's move on to the next third eye question here. This is, again, a pair of questions. Maya's asking, how can you tell if your third eye is blocked? And Kitty's asking, is there anything that will block your third eye, like foods or anything like that?
That, when we get into the details of the pineal gland, yes, there are issues of calcium. Let's put it another way. Most adults are blocked. That means that those that are not blocked either veer towards schizophrenia or multiple personality disorders, or they veer towards spirituality and mysticism and become seers and healers. And it's not a natural state for most humans. So why would you want to open this? First of all, nobody is going to understand your deep desire to open it. Nobody will understand. Most people will say, oh, yeah, that's cool. I've had experience that once with acid, or I did that once. But that's not what it's about. You, deep inside yourself, know that there is another world within you to explore. And it seems to be full of vast vibratory intelligence. How can you not want to go there? That's my answer to you, is that there is no other reason than because you can, and because something is waiting there to be discovered. Don't you want to find out?
I do.
Hey, I woke yours up a long time ago last year.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of which, we've got a stream. We've got this stream thing going on for about a year now. Tina's actually asking about your previous courses. She wants to know, how is this new course different from your previous Awakening Kundalini courses?
So the Awakening Kundalini course, the third eye work was actually just one session. So just imagine what we dealt with when we opened the Khechari and did those advanced techniques. So now I'm going to take you much more detail in how to navigate that, how to manifest, how to actually work with this. So if anybody did my Awakening Your Kundalini advanced course last year, we did the third eye in 3 classes. In the Awakening Your Kundalini class, it was only 1 class. So this is now going to take everything you've learned in Awakening Your Kundalini, and we'll bring everybody up to speed in the first couple of classes, and then we'll open the third eye and go from there. So you're going into a more advanced level of awakening and practices and explorations that will be useful to you, and even more useful to you if you've done the Awakening Your Kundalini course. But if you're a beginner, no problem, you will catch up very quickly. Everybody will come to the same place by the 3rd class. So this is an advanced class from where you left off.
Okay, great, thanks. You've sort of partially answered this one, but let's go ahead and fill it out here. Deborah says, I've read that the Kundalini energy must be raised by an enlightened master, yet some, like Eckhart Tolle, seem to have awakened spontaneously. Can you share your insights about gradual versus sudden, and unassisted versus unassisted awakening?
See, the advantage of working with an adept, which means somebody whose energies are open through all the centers, right, is that they can assist you in your centers as you rise up and the journey comes up, and their energy can help your energy go up. That's what Shaktipat means. That's why the guru culture is such a major part of Kundalini systems in India and all over the world today still. But what we've discovered in the last 10 years or 20 years is that anybody with especially tantric intention, with the desire and the willpower to awaken this energy, can do it. But a state has to occur of receiving grace and wisdom from the universe. So let's change it around and say, if I accept that this vibrating universe that we call the Spanda, this vibrating dance of Shiva and Shakti in the universe, this vibrating principle, the throbbing universe, is my guru, is my teacher, then I have to prepare the vessel to have this download and input come into me. So what we do in the work I teach is to prepare the 6 centers to receive this 40,000 volts of download that's going to occur into you. What a guru does is similar to what ayahuasca and psilocybin does, is to kind of give you the experience and prepare the wiring for you a little bit. What we're going to do is learn how to do it ourselves and become your own guru, and then turn to the universal guru, which we call Dattatreya or Dakshina Murti or Shiva or the consciousness of the universe, and accept that I can directly through willpower reach up and something from grace will descend and meet me at the halfway point at the heart. And then everything will open for me. So if you believe deep inside yourself that you are your own guru, and the right direction, the right support, the right nurturing of these steps will open that door for you, then you're in the right place. If you need the help of a master, by all means, off you go. That's another journey to be taken. But I am an iconoclast. I don't believe in submitting my ego and will to another person completely and being crushed to death. I do believe that I have the potential to wake up. And I believe in the surrender to this grace that comes down. And that transformed me completely. So if you want that experience, stay with me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And if you're just joining us, we're here with Raja Choudhury, learning about his upcoming course, Opening Your Third Eye, which begins Wednesday, February 27th. And you can log on to openingyourthirdeye.com for all the details and to register. So let's go ahead and get back into questions here. We've got one from Tanis who says,
Lisa,
yes.
Can I just say one more thing? I just want to say one more thing.
Absolutely.
Is that I wouldn't have believed this myself, but when we all meditate together, like last year when we were doing Awakening Your Kundalini, and we had 200-300 people at the time in the group watching the video and joining with me, Shakti gets transmitted. Lisa, you've seen it. It just vibrates and everybody goes into a state. And it's not about me having the Shakti path power to take over your mind. It's a vibration that we're all creating together. So just imagine if collectively we can vibrate together and open these things, how wonderful the world would be. No more gurus and masters and servitude and none of that, but freedom, complete freedom. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
In fact, since you bring it up, I think it's really good you brought that up, because I know people are going to be wondering, what if I can't be there live? How does that whole time-space continuum thing work if somebody's actually watching the recording of it later? How can they actually still be connected into that same group?
See, the once you start resonating at a particular frequency, the vibration, which comes from sound and from sensory light and from just that pulse of a lower level and higher levels of vibration, stays with the energy of the voice, the transmission. So even though live has a collective power, those that experience the energy on a recording will feel that live collective power and experience it themselves. I have had evidence of this through, we had nearly 900 people do the Awakening Your Kundalini course last year. And so many reports of, my God, the vibration continued even if I came to it later on and watched the video. And this is very important, because I'm going to teach you how to awaken these things yourself, and then use the recordings and use the mantras that I teach to vibrate and create accelerated development. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you for that explanation. So let's go ahead and get back to Tanis's question here. Tanis wants to know, are your chakras, including the third eye, in your aura or a part of your physical body?
Both. They're actually, in Tantra, we say they belong in 3 realms: the Kundalini, Shakti, the Chakras. Chakras are actually circling energy systems. What we actually call within the body are padmas, are lotuses. So each of the lotuses inside your spinal cord are the Mooladhara, for example, has 4 petals. The Svadhisthana has 8. Is it 8? Yeah, and then 10, then 12 at the heart, 16 at the throat, 2 at the agya, and 1,000 in the third eye above, in the 1,000-petal lotus above you. Now, inside the body, there's a subtle system called the nadis through which this energy rises, and we will learn to cultivate that. Outside your body, so we have 3 bodies we deal with here, just like there are 3 states of consciousness, which is waking, dreaming, and sleeping. deep sleep, or in this case, it would be being awake in this Maya, this world we live in. Then dream is the illusory states we go into from time to time, either in sleep or awake. And deep sleep is that void, the absolute nothingness we sometimes come to, that deep sleep. Now, there's a fourth state beyond that called Turiya. So we want to get to Turiya, that fourth state of complete consciousness, awareness, the fourth state. Turiya means fourth state. And what we want to do is, there are three bodies I do it in. There's the physical body, right? There's the astral body, which is the spiritual realm around me of energy and vibration, of Shakti and Shiva dancing. And then there's the causal body, which is the source from which everything comes. Now, just imagine that Kundalini has Para Kundalini, Shakti Kundalini, and Prana Kundalini in the body. So we have Prana in the body. We have Shakti all around us waiting to be awakened as the body turns on. And then we have Para, ultimate source Kundalini. So if I turn on a switch in my body, let's say I turn on the Muladhara, the lowest chakra, with the sound Lam or Glom, Gum. A vibration starts that begins to move the earth element in my body, and this vibration is felt by the astral plane. So energies and intelligences that are available to me in that astral plane start being drawn towards me because I am vibrating at that state, and so they are of that same frequency. They start coming to help me. And then if I vibrate long enough, I vibrate to the source of that energy, and I become one with the three levels of the dimension. So the way I like to see it is that I turn a switch on here, something goes on out there, and the whole universe conspires with me to make it happen.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's actually a perfect lead-in to a question that came in from Doris. And you kind of answered this at the beginning, but Doris says, when opening the third eye, does it give demons an entry into your mind to take control of your thoughts? Now, you did just mention that when it's open, you attract like vibrations. So is that part of the answer?
So let's look at what demons mean in a tantric sense, right? Just imagine that the heart is the center of a churning Milky Way, a Milky Ocean of consciousness up and down your spine. The upward pull of the Milky Way, of the churning upwards, is towards light. We call that Deva, which means to move towards the light beings, to become a light being. The downward pull of the energy is to move back towards my animal nature, my dark nature, back to the womb, back to the ground, back to the earth, through my fear, my anxiety, my traumas, everything like that. So there is no external energy trying to get in. There's just vibration. Depending on where I am awake, if my negative energies are awake in the lower chakras strongly downward from the heart, I will attract obviously negative energy. If I clear that by burning my bad karma at the Manipura, and I can burn, and I'll teach you how to do that, how to burn your bad karma, I get to become ether and space and move upwards towards the light. So in order to get rid of the demonic, we have to burn our own demons first, but then we also create a shield, a linga around us, which protects us from external demonic forces from vibrating and reminding us of our demonic nature at the lower parts of our body. So it's an upward journey. And this is how we work in Tantra on this.
Okay, thank you for addressing that. We've got a question here from Renee who says, does having titanium in my lower spine affect the nearby chakras? I feel blocked there despite much work.
No, it doesn't, because these are ethereal channels. They are not real. They are subtle. So that means these are energy systems. These are nothing to do with your physicality. Yes, obviously having a damaged spinal vertebrae will affect, the movement of certain nerves and energies in your body, but we will learn to use your breath to overcome that. So no, I have seen cases where people have healed just with massive spondylitis or cirrhosis or bad spinal shape and things like that, just by active Kriya and Chi and Kundalini work. So yes, I think that this is not an obstacle to it, but it is something you have to see as an integral part of your physical being that is irrelevant to this, and you're just going to go for consciousness. Expanding your consciousness is the key to our journey.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Now, this next question is kind of related, and I don't know if you can even answer this, and I want to make sure that everyone knows that Raja can't give medical advice, but Brenda is asking, if you have a tumor on your pituitary gland, does this affect if your third eye will open?
See, the Padma system, or the chakra system as it's called, the Padmas, correlate directly to the glandular system, to the parasympathetic nervous system, the vagus nerve from the crotch area, the thymus and the thyroid at the throat, the pineal and pituitary glands in the Brahma's cave in the midbrain. These are all critical in the balancing of certain chemicals and hormones in our body, that if we learn to manage through breath and mantra and control, not only align the entire body into a hormonal balance and chemical glandular balance, but also release new chemicals that give us extremely good experiences of bliss and light. So, for example, it is believed that light comes from the release of DMT, which is a relation to melatonin and serotonin that comes out of the pineal gland. Now, the pituitary gland works directly with the thymus, so it's much more about the well-being of the person and the parasympathetic nervous system coming over the medulla. So you're going to have to work with it, because it may block the flow of energy up into your mind, into your brain. So we will work with it in such a way that you will find that you'll be able to, there are cases where people have healed their thymus and healed tumors in the pituitary, healed tumors in the thymus. It has happened, but there's no medical guarantee of that. But what does happen is, because the immune system of prana comes in and you get so much vitality and life, and your T cells going to accelerate it more, your heart starts healing much better, you actually become well all round. So that tumor, if it's benign, becomes negligible in its impact in you. But as the work begins, you will see it unfold, and you can contact me through the course, and I will introduce you to some of the medical research being done in this area. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. It looks like you piqued Sheila's interest, because she wants to know, how do you burn your old karma?
Well, put it this way. The message of karmic burning, which I will teach in a later course as well, is the idea that in my stomach, the fire element sits. And the fire element is the meeting point between my upward energy called prana and my downward energy called apana. That's how prana and apana move. So all my excretion, my stuff that goes out of my system, my crap, is poured out of apana downwards, right? Out. And prana is my uplifting energy, and it balances at the manipura, at this point at the navel. Now, if I have too much crap, physically what happens is the colon gets blocked, the congestion occurs, you get constipated, you get ill, you get all kinds of problems. Clearing the stomach physically is the first step. Then what happens is that we're storing so much of this karma, we store it all down there, the bad karma. Good karma is like ether, it floats happily. But bad karma is like accrued causality of all the things you've messed up and done in your life, or ancestral, or past life, or whatever you want to call it. But mostly this life. It's mostly about stress, trauma, fear, anxiety, abuse, all the things you've collected gets down there in your stomach. Now, once you learn certain breathing techniques, the energy down there, the goddess energy that we call it, the Shakti, is called Chamundaya. And Chamundaya is a form of Kali or Durga. It's kind of fierce goddess because she's on one hand fire and the mother that protects the child through the navel. And on the other, she's nurturing because she's feeding you through the umbilical cord of her spiritual umbilical cord. Now, the mother at the junction there is destroying two demons. Chamundaya means the destroyer of Chanda and Munda. Chanda is your chattering brain, all the rubbish telling you you're no good, you're crap, you've been useless in your life, you're not worthy, you're not loved, you're not lovable, all that voice that's going on. So shut it up by cutting off its head. The second voice you cut off is Munda, which is the headless body that runs around telling you, I'm freaking out, I'm going to die. You need sex, you need food, you need everything. Blah, 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 blah. We shut that down too. So the goddess there carrying a big matchet cuts off the head of Chanda and Munda and frees you. And how do you do that? By burning a fire in your belly and throwing all your crap into the fire and saying, one by one, I let you go, I let you go, I let you go. And there's a breathing technique I teach that does that. And then, miraculously, the nurturing mother energy allows the smoke to rise and frees you to air and spirit, and then third eye and opening. That's how it works.
All right. Thank you for that explanation. And we have time for a few more questions, but before we take those, I think it'd be a good time to give a few details about the course itself. Again, it's called Opening Your Third Eye. And this is going to be not only a life-changing 9-week journey, but a really fun one, too, because Raj is just a blast to work with. And in this course, you'll activate your gateway to higher consciousness and access vast reservoirs of peace, stillness, inner light, and divine guidance. And the 9-week course takes place on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, starting Wednesday, February 27th. And if you can't join us live, that's fine. As we mentioned earlier, you won't miss the teachings, you won't miss out on the vibe. You'll receive audio and video recordings, transcripts, and all course handouts on your course homepage. And also, I'd like to remind you that the Shift Network offers a no-risk money-back guarantee on all of our courses, and we give you a full 2 weeks until March 13th in this case to make sure that you absolutely love it. And as an added option, all participants are welcome to connect in a private Facebook community group so you can stay connected with one another, and Raja is very active in the group as well. Also, everyone who registers receives the Opening Your Third Eye bonus collection, free toy inside. First, you'll receive a video meditation from Raja entitled Earth to Skywalker, a 30-minute Kundalini and Third Eye Awakening meditation. Next, you'll get a video from Raja called Yoga, Aligning to the Source. Then, you'll receive an audio dialogue with Rabbi David Ingber and Daniel Matt entitled The God of No Thing. Also, you'll get an ebook from Burt Goldman called Quantum Jumping. And when you register by midnight Pacific on Wednesday, February 20th, you'll receive an additional bonus gift, and that is a video interview with Stan Groff and Rick Tarnas entitled The Use of Archetypal Astrology in Psychedelic Therapy and Holotropic Breathwork. So before we get back into questions, Raja, what are you most looking forward to sharing in your upcoming course?
Well, before I answer that, I wanted to just say that this little package I've put together of bonuses, the meditation you'll receive at the end of the course will be kind of your encapsulation of everything you've learned. But why I put Burt Goldman and Stan Groff and Rabbi Gell is to have you understand that we're dealing with consciousness here. And holotropic breathwork, quantum jumping are all very similar to Tantra in many ways, Qigong. And so I wanted to share some cross-fertilizing of teachings for you to help you understand that we're not dealing with yoga and religion here. We're dealing with hacking our consciousness. We're actually going to hack ourselves. And I want you to understand that in the work I'm doing. And what I'm really looking forward to is the step-by-step hacks and ahas that you're going to experience. Because every week you're going to leave with a bunch of ahas, and then you're going to come back a week later and you'll have transformed a little bit more. So by the end of the 9 sessions, what I expect to happen is that even though some of you will, still not feel fully opened in that third eye, you'll be well on your way, but your life would have transformed and in measurable ways. And you will see that for yourself. And this is what I want to see happen.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you. So let's go ahead and get back into questions. We've got a question from Michelle that I know you know the answer to. She wants to know, if your pineal gland is calcified, how can you decalcify it?
So look, let us put it another way. Most people's pineal glands are calcified. Calcification of arteries, of pineal glands, of the thymus occurs in any human being because of lack of use, or diet, or coating, or a lifelong pursuit of inactivity of the brain. Now, the moment you figure out a way of activating your brain, left and right hemispheres, up and down the spinal cord, the cerebrospinal fluid coming into your brain, activating centers in you, then the entire brain that's normally latent begins to come alive. They did a MRI of people on LSD, and the entire brain just lit up like Lucy. Like, just imagine we're at 10%, 8% normally, and suddenly it lights up to 15%. What would your life become like? So if that lights up, right, chemically what could happen is that you will begin to experience transformations, right? So what I want to suggest is that as you get into these transformations, you can expect that the pineal gland itself will begin to unblock and open up by itself. Now I'll teach you techniques, mudras, buns, and breathing techniques that will open it even further. We'll do something called the Khechari, and we'll do something called the Jyoti mudras, and different mudras that will open the third eye. And then I'll teach you things like Tratak, which is gazing at a candle or gazing at the sun early morning or in the evening, and you'll find different ways to keep it fresh and healthy. Now, as far as food and all are concerned, I will teach that also. Obviously, you want to live a kind of superfood diet as much as possible. Spirulina and moringa and, bulletproof coffees all help this stuff work. Fluorides are a contributing factor, but not critical to it. It's been disproven. So worry more about your practices, and then we'll get conscious about food and lifestyle.
Okay, thanks. Let's go to a question here from Brenda. This is an interesting one. She says, what if your divine timing to awaken this teaching is not now? Is it possible to take this course and make it happen? What happens if you try to force this?
Now, ask yourself a different question. How badly do you want to wake up? And what do you want to wake up to? What do you think you're going to wake up to? Do you think you're going to wake up to a kind of matrix type world that's unreal, and suddenly reality sucks and you're living in a different world, and it's not what you thought it was? Are you scared of the void? Do you think you'll get to a precipice and you'll fall in and you won't be able to get out? Are you scared of your own consciousness expanding to a point where this world seems so humdrum and you don't want to be with the people you're with anymore? You don't want to be in the relationships you're with anymore. The question is that, do you want to wake up? If you want $1 million and you want to go make a house and get these powers of manifestation going, I'm not here to teach that kind of stuff. That might be a byproduct of what we do. Probably is. But We're here to wake up. And waking up at first may appear terrifying. The name of the guardian of the gateway to the other side is called Bhairav. If you imagine all those Tibetan masks you see with the teeth and the big eyes, that's Bhairav. Why is Bhairav so scary looking in the Tibetan masks and in Dakinis and all that? Because Bhairav represents the fear of the unknown, of the void, that you arrive at that precipice and you go, fear, but then curiosity in you goes, oh, I want to find out what it is. I want to go to that next room and that next room and that next room. And we call these rooms avaranas, or veils. One veil parts and you're in another chamber. Another veil parts and you go further. And there are 36 vibrations we're going to go through. So just imagine the moment you think you're going to die and this world is about to end, you go to the next level of vibration and suddenly you're a better human being. You actually become a better lover, a better partner, a better creative, a better manifester of reality, better at abundance, better at everything. So you get better and better and better. That's why I love what Bert Goldman and Silver used to say, which is every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better and better. That's what we do.
Okay, thank you. Got a question here from Jacinta who says, how much time of practice should be invested in this?
Okay, so in a recent study in London, I think it was Imperial College or somewhere like that, they discovered that it takes approximately, in a grown-up, about 66 days to create a new synaptic pathway. In Tantra, they recommend 41 days of ritual to rewire your system. So if we were to throw a number somewhere between 41 and 66, I would say that to see real change and transformation in your wiring, you would need to do the full practice that I will show you for about 2 months in order to get the full benefit. And then life changes. But you will see changes along the way. It's not like you're going to do 2 months and then suddenly a switch comes on and you're set. No, it's going to transform as you go along. But once you do it, that's why people go off to retreats and monasteries and all to do it for 2-3 months, is to just take the time to rewire the brain. It takes a little time to rewire the brain. So, but the good news is that if you can't do that and you still have to go to the job and you still have to do that, you can rewire it steadily and slowly and you will evolve and it'll transform your life. So both work.
Okay, great. Thank you. Got a question here from Marissa who says, is teleporting and astral traveling part of the third eye opening?
Okay, let me answer it as a tantric. I talked about the fourth state of consciousness called Turiya state. So we go from waking to dreaming to deep nothingness, sleep. Beyond that lies a state of stillness, of complete awareness called Turiya. If I come to that stillness where I've shut up my upper brain, I've shut up my lower brain, I'm completely aware, I'm fully. The more I cultivate that space, the more I become a designer of any reality I want. I kind of become a magician, an alchemist. And the next breath in, I create a new me. The next breath out, I dissolve back into that space. With each in-breath hum, I am real. I become this world again. With each breath out, sa, I dissolve back into that void. So I'm perpetually able to navigate from the void to any reality I want. Now, siddhis, these powers that come with this mastery of this journey to the void, to Turiya state, comes only after you learn how to really shut up and still yourself. Then you can manifest anything you want. Now, it takes practice, but it works. My entire life of the last 11, 12 years has been one journey after the other of unfolding that ability. So Yes, it does work. And you do become an alchemist and a much more of a magician than you can imagine. However, the two requirements that are very hard to achieve for 99.9% of people. One is that you have to learn to completely shut up and still the mind. And two, you have to learn to surrender without any ego to this universal vibration. If you figure those two things out, the world is yours. So the irony is that by the time you get to that state, you don't really want anything anymore. Isn't that funny?
Yes, it's that annoying paradox, isn't it? As soon as you don't want it, there it is.
Exactly. Everything, anytime I don't want something, it all comes to me. It's too weird.
Yeah. Well, let's do one last question here from Kim, who says, once it's open, does it ever close again? Do you have to keep up the exercises to keep it open?
Yeah, you know, it's like muscle memory. You know, everything atrophies, everything loses its hold on you. It depends on how you use it in your life. If it becomes a daily practice, like brushing your teeth or getting up in the morning and breathing, then life becomes attuned to that observation. And so you're never out of sync with it. If you let life and the Maya and the illusion of life come and take over again, and you forget weeks without meditating, and you don't think about it, and you whine about it, and you say, oh God, tomorrow I'm going to start meditating, then obviously it's going to get calcified and atrophied and lose its muscle capability. It's like muscle memory. You can't do a marathon without training a little bit. I'm not promising you this is easy. What I am promising you is that if you stick with it, boy. And you know, one of the nicest consequences of this is that the biggest gift that will come to you is bliss. And if you get that bliss, everything falls into place.
All right. Well, this has just been a rockin' hour. I want to thank our viewers for being with us today and for all of your questions. I know, it went so fast. Opening Your Third Eye starts Wednesday, February 27th. And again, you can visit openingyourthirdeye.com to learn more and to register. So before we go, Raja, do you have any final words?
You know, I want to teach you a quick mantra to manifest anything you want, which is the Shri mantra that Lisa and I were laughing about earlier. So Shreem is Sha-Ra-Im. So Sha is the outward nature of the beautiful goddess energy of the whole universe around me, a golden energy all around me. Shri, Sha, 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 Sha. The auspicious grace around me that's going to pour into me and give me all that bliss and abundance and everything I want through my bindu and into my third eye and down to my heart. Ra is the fire in my belly that desires, that burns. Re, ra, ra. Ram is the sound of the belly, Manipura. And Im sounds like the river of consciousness going up through my spinal cord and awakening my kundalini. So when I chant Shri, I vibrate my neck, I vibrate everything, and I attract that grace of the universe to me. So I can go, There you go. Off you go.
All right. Wow. Well, thank you again, Raj. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.
Namaha.
Namaha. And once again, thank you to everyone who joined us today. On behalf of all of us at the Shift Network, I wish you well and look forward to having you on this course or perhaps another one in the future. Have a great day, everyone.